Hi, Leanne.
Hey, Jonathan.
How are you?
I'm good. I can hear you.
Perfect. Um, so it says we're in practice session
Okay.
and it
You
just
want me
looks
to?
a little different. I don't know why. Maybe because when your PowerPoint comes up, it kind of moves things around, maybe. I couldn't remember if I logged in first last time or
You did.
okay.
Yeah. You want me to go ahead and bring my PowerPoint up?
Yeah, if you can. I just want to make sure it all looks okay.
Yeah, I want to make sure I can see everything too, because I always forget which order to do it in. So
Yeah.
let me get this up. I want to reverse these.
Think it's recording even though it's in practice. So I'm sure it will just, maybe it's just recording throughout the whole thing.
Okay. And you know what? I've got to do something different because I need to share my screen first. So let me share my screen first, which you're going to see us. And then I'm going to move my PowerPoint over.
Okay, yeah, now it looks good.
Oh, except you know what? I'm going to stop a minute because I want it the other way. See, I always do this wrong. Okay, so let me do this again. Let me share. I'm going to do my other screen, but then I'm going to flip them around. So give me a sec.
Okay.
And then I'm going to do display settings, swap. Okay, do you see the full screen?
I do, yes.
Okay, perfect.
It looks good. I think I'm just gonna move my video box a little bit. I
That's
think
what I
last
did.
time, yeah, last time I forgot to move it and it was actually blocking some of the text, so it might be better.
Yeah, sometimes if you go up there at the top,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think where it is. Maybe I can't do it because somewhere I saw I could do a view side by side, and then I'd see the PowerPoint and the pictures over to the side in a better view.
Okay.
Like maybe up in the three little dots.
Yes, I see those.
So like the three little dots by my, no, that's not right. I don't know. I found it once and now I don't know where it is.
Okay, it's good.
Yeah, that's the one downfall of our widescreen slides is that then when the pictures go on the side, it cuts off some of the stuff.
Yes, yeah, that's okay. I think like sometimes when I get in the moment, I like kind of forget that I can move it around anyways.
I know. I know the feeling. Do I look too far away or am I okay?
Um, you look okay. It does look like you're a little bit further than usual,
Let me,
maybe,
let me see if I can
but
minimize this.
honestly, it doesn't look bad.
Let me see if I can get my camera control thing up. Oh yeah.
I I almost feel like my the lighting is kind of putting a glare down my face, and I'm not sure
Yeah, it is a
why.
little bit. It does look, is there a light on your ceiling behind you?
Yes, yeah.
That's what it is. Okay, is that better?
Oh, yeah, it's really good. Mhm.
Okay, so let me put this down.
Can't really think of another way, maybe taking like loosening a bulb, maybe. I mean, does it look bad?
No, it doesn't look bad.
Okay.
Okay, now let me see if I can get my remote to work.
Oh, so
Okay,
you use a remote for that? That's awesome.
I mean, I do that when I'm in person, but I did a few with using my mouse, and then I was like, why would I use my remote? It's so much easier. But I have my mouse handy in case my remote malfunctions. I always have a backup.
That's good. I'm trying to think, like, I'm not sure. I'm just not sure if I should go to a different room, but this is the office. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I always, like, I guess I don't have my overhead light on, but I always try to have like a light in front of me. Sorry, I'll be right back. Trying to break my light switch.
I can actually go grab, I have a desk light, but the bulb's out. I can go grab a lamp real quick and just see like if that kind of.
Sometimes if you put it like off in front of you somehow, or a tall, like a stand light or something, that sometimes it's not that bad, Jonathan. You know what it is? It's darker tonight than it's been.
Oh, that's right, because there's a window right above me that shines the light in.
Yeah, that's why, because other times we've done it, it's still, you're getting more natural light where you don't have it tonight, so.
Huh. Let me see. Well, I'll be right back. I just want to experiment.
Okay.
If everything's working okay. Okay. I just want to see.
Just rearranging your house. No big deal.
Trust me, it doesn't go in this room, but it's okay.
Nobody's gonna see it though.
Yeah, it's like my little secret. Let's see here. Okay, let's see. Huh. Oh, there we go. Okay. I had to figure out how to turn it on. Okay, let me see here.
Try turning your overhead light on just to see, your overhead light off.
Okay, yeah.
That's too dark.
It's too dark.
But you know what? Turn that back on, because you're not glaring as much with that other lamp on as you were before. So go ahead and turn it back on. With the other light on, it's not as bad. It's better.
You're right. It's really not.
Yeah, it's better. I think you're good.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah.
Do you know how many people are signed up for tonight?
I don't, but actually Nicole just sent me a text, so I'll ask her.
Okay. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I just was curious.
Oh yeah, me too. I always am. I just asked her.
Can you tell when people sign in, or because it's a webinar, they just kind of sign in and then we broadcast?
Yes, that's what happens. As soon as we go live, they all just start to flood in.
Okay,
So I can't see like if they're in the waiting room. I don't
okay,
think I can see that.
yeah.
This is like the perfect webinar for Thanksgiving.
That's why I picked it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think it's, well, and especially with everything that's happened in the past couple of days with, the stay-at-home advisories and all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
I think, and with just the way this year has been, I think a lot of people are having trouble with gratitude this year.
I totally agree. You can hear it when speaking with clients how, I mean, many times they're already isolated. Now it's just like the icing on the cake.
Yeah,
It's complete. It's just it emotionally wears them down, and
yeah.
it's sad.
Well, and I also think, and I've got this on one of my slides, I think the whole everybody wearing masks, I've noticed like not as many people say thank you, say talk to people. It's like they've forgot their eyes aren't behind the mask, and so they just walk around with their head down, and I don't hear near as many people saying thank you or holding doors for. It's just kind of weird.
It is, and I like it's a weird feeling too because like as in human nature, I feel like it's also like polite. You say hi and like have that interaction. But I do notice that like I was walking our dog down the street, and so like the other person was walking my way, and so I went out into the street just to give space,
Yeah,
and it was almost like I didn't even exist, like to the
yeah,
other person.
yeah, yeah. Like they didn't say thank you for
Yeah,
making
or
room.
yeah, or even wave like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
It's given people almost permission to be more rude.
Right, right, yeah. They can have a frowny face and we won't even know.
Yeah. I did read a couple of studies though, and it was kind of made me feel a little bit better because they said that people underappreciate eyes. So I guess they did studies with kids and masks, and they found that kids were much more likely to pick up on people's eye expressions rather than smiles or facial expressions. And then that decreases as you get older. So adults have a harder time concentrating on people's eyes, but kids, that's what they focus on. So the whole mask thing doesn't seem to be as detrimental to kids as it is to adults unless they like turn their thinking around and really pay attention to people's eyes.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It was very interesting.
Eyes are, I don't know, I've always been an eye person. So like I feel like I know they say like the windows to the soul.
Yeah,
But I feel like
Really,
it kind of is. I don't,
really is now.
yeah.
I mean, I guess I shouldn't say people aren't saying thank you as much because I'm not really going that many places. But the few places I am going, I just don't think people seem to be as kind as they have been in the past.
Yeah, maybe it's like their outward frustration of what's going on with being fed up and
Yeah,
maybe, I don't know.
I
It could
don't
be
know.
a little of everything.
Well, there's so many things to pick from to be aggravated about lately. I mean, take your pick.
Right, right.
Uh,
I think Nicole texts back. Let me see here. Oh, wow. 35.
wow.
Yeah,
They won't all come, but
but that's pretty
hey,
impressive.
ooh, ooh, now I'm gonna get nervous.
I know. Why do we look? Why do we ask?
So,
Oh gosh.
and maybe they'll come up with better questions than I came up with. I always forget the stupid questions.
Well,
So thank you for reminding me.
okay, I did remind you. I wasn't sure, so I just wanted to throw it out there because you told me just
Yeah, I did. I want
yeah.
you to do it because I totally forgot again.
Yeah. I like them, they're relevant and they're um and helpful too, like very helpful because, you know, if someone doesn't know how to like or even go about meditating, that's a good question.
Yeah, I actually have a few free apps I can tell them about. Um, I've only ever used the one, but I've had other people tell the other ones to me. So we'll see.
Yeah, I know. I really should download one.
Yeah, I am very bad at. I, I'm not a very good meditator.
I mean, I love the idea and I get
Oh, me
it.
too.
Yeah.
And I guess they say that part of your brain going away and bringing it back is part of the thing, but it frustrates me because I, I just want to do it correctly. And I guess it's a learning process and I don't do it enough, but my, my, my brain wanders and I know that's not really what you're supposed to do.
No, but you're aware of it, so you can
I
always
guess,
like I don't know, like have like one of those words like that makes you stop or something like that you can tell yourself and to
yeah.
refocus.
Well, that's why I like the guided ones better, the
Yeah.
ones that somebody's like talking you through or making you think about or focus. I do better with that than just like having music and or a counting, like a breath one that counts or something. I do better with that, but I mean, I really don't do it. When I do it, it's only like for 5 minutes, but they say that's okay. Even a few minutes, it's still good for you. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I tried to, go over a little bit with my clients to help get them grounded,
yeah,
and then become in the present because, there is a time and place to have like your worry time,
yep.
but if it consumes your, daily functioning, that's not good.
Yeah.
So
And
it,
sometimes just the deep breathing part of it, even just, just the slowing your breathing down can sometimes just have the same effect. Even if
that's
you're not, even if you're not focused on something in particular other than breathing, it can still help.
so when you do that, like, is it okay to explain that as like a physiological
Yeah.
thing?
It's I'm trying to think, what is it? You have like two nervous systems. You have the autonomic nervous system and the or the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. The sympathetic is that fight or flight. So it's when we're stressed and we get all pent up. And the parasympathetic is the calm down one. And when you do those like 5 breaths in, hold it, count of 5 out, it ramps up the calming part of your nervous system.
The
So your blood
parasite.
pressure lowers. Yeah, the parasympathetic. So your blood pressure comes down, your heart rate comes down, your stress hormones stop being released. So yeah, even just deep breathing exercises physiologically can make a difference.
So it's like sympathetic, like you have sympathy.
Yeah, like sympathy is like yeah, it's the one we want is parasympathetic.
Yeah.
But yeah, sympathetic is the fight or flight response. So your blood pressure goes up, your heart rate goes up, your breathing goes up, your adrenals let cortisol out because that's your stress hormone. And you want the opposite of that. So you want the parasympathetic nervous system. And that's that deep breathing like kicks it in. And so then the reverse happens of everything. So your blood pressure comes down, your heart rate comes down, you're slowing your breathing, which is what started it all. So it's scientifically proven. It works.
Okay, so this is another question. And I'm sure there's part of it is like psychological too, do you think? Because I have a client that's really anxious
Yeah,
and we just like I feel like it's like 30 seconds of deep breathing and she seems to be calmer right away. Does it just work that quickly?
it does. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Those people just have to do it frequently because they ramp back into their stress cycle really quickly. So they have to either just know when that's happening and get themselves into that breathing pattern, or maybe just do it so many times a day or once an hour or whatever the case may be to kind of ward it off.
Okay. Do I have time to get a glass of water?
Sure.
I
Yeah, I
said,
only have 622.
okay, that's what I have also. I'll be right back.
Okay. I know you forget you get stuck to this spot and you need to have everything handy.
I like how we logged in early just to make sure it's all working.
It makes me more comfortable doing that.
Oh yeah, me too, because if there was something, it's like a rush then,
Yeah.
to get it figured out.
I thought that thing Nada sent to us about the feedback from the ACL people about virtual savvy was interesting with that 11:30 to 1:30 time frame.
I saw that. Yes. I actually just skimmed it, but I wanted to go back and read it fully.
Yeah, I wonder if Nicole will start asking people. I mean, it doesn't matter to me, but I know one person, the evening class, they thought it needed to be later. They
Oh,
thought 7 to 9 would have been better than 6 to 8 because it
that's
interfered
nice.
with dinner. I'd rather do 11:30 to 1:30 personally, but
I would too. Yeah. I
but
mean,
I
9 o'clock, I feel like that's just a little too late.
I don't know if the person who said it, their family member maybe went to bed early. So they would get their person to bed and then take the class. I don't know, but I can't imagine a lot of people wanting it later. But
Oh, I mean, I can't either, really. I mean, I'm just referencing my lifestyle, but
Yeah.
I mean, well, really, I like to actually be in the bedroom at like 8 o'clock something, 8ish. And, because that's like my downtime and it's nice. I just feel like after a session that ended at 9, I feel like one's mind would be still pretty active.
Yeah. Yeah. When those, don't go out between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. came out, I'm like, well, that does not cramp my style at all.
Mine either. That's just fine. I love being at home.
I do too. To be honest with you, the pandemic has not been that big of a tragedy for me as far as being stuck at home more.
Right. Same. Same. It's part of my normal, I guess.
Yeah.
The only part, like, I do miss, like, I didn't go out to eat a lot, but I do miss, like, the whole, like, making sure I don't have my mask. I mean, making sure I have my mask. So, to even like pick up food and.
I keep some paper ones in the car so that if I forget.
Good idea.
Women have it a little easier because if we're grabbing a purse, we can have them in there and it's not so bad. But
Yeah, exactly. That's. Oh boy, it's almost time to go live.
I know I forget. What do we usually go live a couple minutes before, or what do we do?
I don't know.
Or right at time, maybe.
I think we've done different
Oh, you
things.
know what? Maybe we let people in and we step away for a few minutes from the camera.
Um, we can do that. Let me see. Can can you see anything, or is it like nice and clean and plain?
I can see you still, but otherwise it's nice and clean and plain.
Okay, because I have stuff down
I
there.
know, I can't see it.
Okay.
You know what? Let's just let them in. We can just sit here and be quiet for a couple minutes.
Oh yeah. Okay, that sounds good.
I mean, you can just say, welcome. We're going to give people a few more minutes to come in and then we'll start or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds good. And I'll probably say it like after I see enough people start to come
Okay.
in. Like I won't say
Okay.
it like right away.
Yep.
Okay. Here we go. Welcome everyone. We're just going to wait a few minutes as people enter the presentation. So we'll just wait a few more minutes. Okay, we'll get started. Good evening all and welcome to JFSA's Brain Health and Wellness Initiative series. where we bring education to our community each month to educate and promote a broad landscape for brain health. Here we offer CEUs to our professional learners. Today's presentation topic is Gratitude is Good for Your Brain. My name is Jonathan Yassani. Along with my colleague Hannah Thompson, we provide care navigation within the JFSA Dementia Program. Our program creates an empowering environment to help improve the quality of life of those who have dementia or are at risk of developing dementia, while helping family caregivers reduce the stress and burden that oftentimes occurs during the caregiver experience. Hannah and I work with our clients' strengths with a person-centered approach by developing and implementing individualized care plans, from linking persons with dementia and their families with community resources to following them with their medical management by ensuring we address their biopsychosocial needs. Here at JFSA, we work together as a team with a multidisciplinary group of geriatricians, nurses, social workers, and geriatric psychiatrists. Please feel free to direct any questions you may have during the presentation to the Q&A icon, where we can answer them after the presentation. Today's presenter is Leanne Stuver. Leanne Stuver is a registered nurse with an extensive background in health education. She worked as a hospital nurse for 10 years before earning her master's degree in education. She has over 20 years experience in the planning and implementation of adult education programs at Menora Park Center for Senior Living. She has served as their director of the Rose Institute for Lifelong Learning and later became their director of lifelong learning. Ms. Stuver teaches community education classes about the importance of lifelong learning and brain health. She is passionate about educating the community in practical ways they can learn to support their health and wellness. She is an accomplished Savvy Caregiver Workshops facilitator at the JFSA, officially trained by the co-founder, co-creator of the National Savvy Caregiver Program, Dr. Carrie Sherman. Leanne has been involved in numerous speaking engagements and is currently a dementia support group and a Savvy Caregiver Workshops facilitator at the JFSA.
Jonathan, thank you so much. And I'm so glad all of you could be here with us this evening to talk about gratitude. I thought this was a good topic to pick with Thanksgiving holiday coming up, but let's talk about holidays for a minute. Holidays tend to be very stressful, and I think we're probably all sharing in feeling even a little more stressed about the Thanksgiving holiday coming up because of all the things that are going on with COVID-19. So just in the last couple of days, those of us here in Northeast Ohio have been told don't travel, don't get together, be careful. So it adds to the stress of the already stressful holiday season. We place high expectations on ourselves during the holidays because we all want that holiday to be just perfect. So add all this other stuff on and it's even more stressful than it normally is. Especially because this year the holidays are going to possibly look very different and feel very different than they have in the past. But that doesn't mean we can't still be thankful and show gratitude. So let's talk about gratitude a little bit. So gratitude, according to the Oxford Languages Dictionary, is the quality of being thankful, readiness to show appreciation for, and to return kindness. So we want to be thankful and we want to be kind. Those are the two big tenets of gratitude and kind of what Thanksgiving is all centered around. I know it's the Indians and the Pilgrims, but still it's being thankful and being grateful for what we have. The really interesting thing about gratitude is that it is actually good for us. It's good for our body, it's good for our brain, and it's in a lot of different areas that this has been shown. So this is from happierhuman.com, had a research study about gratitude, and they said that they said 5 areas of gratitude, the benefits of gratitude: emotional, social, career, health, and personality. And we're going to look at a couple of examples in each of these. But they basically said if you have gratitude in all these areas, it all leads to the center, which is happiness. So we need to think about gratitude in a lot of different areas of our life, and then that will help us be happier people. So first, we're going to look at the emotional benefits of gratitude. You may have heard of a gratitude journal. I'm going to mention it several times tonight, but there's a lot of research that shows that if you journal for 5 minutes a day about what we are grateful for, it can enhance our long-term happiness. So for a lot of other health topics, like if you're on a diet and watching your food, they tell you to write that down in a journal. If you're having some stress reactions, they tell you to write down what the triggers are. So journaling is a common theme in a lot of ways that we deal with health crises. So it makes sense that if we journal what we're grateful for, it points it out to us and we can see it on paper, that all those things that we are grateful for. Sometimes we tend to overlook the positive things in our life. Our brain is set up to protect us. So it looks for the negatives because the negatives are what we need to be protected from. So our brain is always on alert to find all the negatives. So we sometimes have to slow it down and say, wait a minute, there are some positives too. And some of the best ways to do that is to write it down so it's there in front of you and to point it out. So we need to keep those positives in mind because our brain wants to override those and just look at the negatives. It also can increase our self-esteem so that if we have a high level of gratitude, that increases our feelings of self-esteem and also decreases our feelings of depression. And that makes sense because if we remind ourselves what we have to be grateful for, rather than concentrating on all the negative aspects, we can help prevent those depression feelings. Now, this does not mean that writing down everything that you are grateful for can prevent clinical depression that is diagnosed by a physician and is a chemical imbalance. That's not the kind of depression I'm talking about. That still needs to be medically treated. But all of us get down in the dumps, feeling a little bit low. That's the kind of depression that I'm talking about, that being grateful and recognizing those things can help with those down moods that we tend to get occasionally. So that's what I mean about depression, feelings of depression, not actually medically diagnosed depression. Social benefits was the next category. So gratitude and social benefits. People who are more grateful tend to have a wider social network. So they have more friends and they have better relationships with those friends. Now, I understand right now we're maybe not out getting together with our friends in person like we used to. But if anybody was here last month, I guess it was 2 months ago for the program on social connectedness, there are lots of ways you can still stay connected with people via phone, via Zoom, like we're doing tonight, FaceTime, just writing an old-fashioned letter. But people who are grateful tend to have that bigger social network. And that social network is real important for our brain health as well. Also, those who are grateful have access to more social support, which kind of goes hand in hand with what we just said before. If you have a bigger social network, then hopefully some of those people in that network will be available to give you more social support. So help you out during difficult times, listen to you when you need an ear, a shoulder to cry on, whatever the case may be. Hopefully somebody in that network can help with that. And because you have this bigger social network, it also lessens the need for support in the first place. So it's being isolated and lonely that then makes you need that support network. where if you have that support network and stay in contact with them, you don't need as much support. So I guess that kind of makes sense. The more people we have in our orbit that are helping to support us, the less we need to go look for that. Now, personality is another area that gratitude can affect us. So you may have heard of the attitude of gratitude. Sometimes you'll see that on little quotes, different places, but the attitude of gratitude can affect our personality. So our personality is what makes us the way we are. So you probably know people that you would classify as they're always crabby, or they're always grumpy, or someone's always happy. That's kind of our personality. But gratitude can actually affect our personality. So if we try to be more positive, if we try to be more grateful, it makes us less of that negative thinking person. So by really focusing on being gratitude, you're helping to improve your personality as well. And hopefully it will go not just the time that you're journaling or thinking about it, but it will bleed over to other areas as you go as well. Now, I'm sure you've heard this one before. Are you the person who looks at the glass and says it's half empty? Or are you the person who looks at the glass and says it's half full? That kind of reflects our personality. Do we tend to look at things on a more pessimistic side or a more optimistic side? I'm the glass half full person. My husband is usually the glass half empty person, which sometimes makes our conversations kind of interesting. But think about it. Which are you? This makes a difference in our personality, how we look at just this one simple thing. But gratitude can help make us more optimistic. So by concentrating on the things we're thankful for and those positive things that we look for, it can help us become more optimistic. Now, it's not going to always make you optimistic, but it can help. And the more you're optimistic, the better effects there is on the brain. So when we are more positive or more optimistic, there's an area of our brain called the amygdala, and it calms down. So the amygdala is the area of the brain that for someone who has post-traumatic stress disorder, their amygdala is overactive. So they are just bombarded from the amygdala with that trauma, and it just keeps coming back. So if we can show gratitude, that calms our amygdala down. So even those of us that don't have post-traumatic stress, our amygdala still flares up when we're under stress. And by showing gratitude and thinking about gratitude, we can calm that part of our brain down so that we don't get into this vicious cycle of being negative. We want to be more positive. So those are the personality. Oh, we've got one more personality benefit. And you've probably heard this one before too. Pay it forward. Gratitude makes us more giving and can also decrease our self-centeredness. If we try to start thinking about other people first before ourselves, this is a way that we can make our brain work better. I looked it up and now I can't remember. I was going to write it down. There was a movie called Pay It Forward. I don't know if any of you saw it. I believe it was in the early 2000s. It might have even been 2000, but it was Haley Joel Osment was the little kid that was in the movie, and Helen Hunt and Kevin Spacey. And it's a tearjerker movie. If you ever watch it, have the box of Kleenex with you. But it was all about paying it forward. I think every year around the holidays, we usually hear about people who have paid for the groceries or the Christmas purchases for the person behind them in line or things like that. That's that pay it forward. Doesn't have to be huge amounts, but if we put somebody else's priorities ahead of ours and pay it forward, it can help our brain health as well. Now, I don't know how many people here are still working, but you could also put this into perspective if you're volunteering or if you're involved in social groups or community groups. But gratitude can help reduce our impatience and can improve our decision-making skills. But decision-making skills are important whether it's at home, whether it's at work, whether it's in a social group. We want to make good decisions and we want to do it effectively. So by being grateful, we can help our decision-making process. In other words, we help our brain work better just by concentrating on being grateful. Another thing is being grateful can help us find meaning in our work, in our volunteering, in our commitment to a cause, whatever that can be. If we realize why we're doing it and show our gratitude for being able to participate in those kind of activities, it can make a difference on our brain. So in other words, stop doing things that matter less so you can focus more on the things, focus on things that matter more. So it helps you prioritize those important things in your life that you are grateful for. Physical health, that's the next area, and gratitude can affect your physical health. It can help reduce your blood pressure. So this is kind of a complex way, and Jonathan and I were kind of talking about this before the class ever started, so I had already practiced saying this once. But when we practice gratitude, it engages our parasympathetic nervous system. So you have two nervous systems, sympathetic and parasympathetic. Your sympathetic nervous system is your fight or flight response. So that's what protects us from danger. It's like the cavemen that had to run away from the saber-toothed tiger. That's their sympathetic nervous system that kicked in, got their heart beating, got their muscles ready to go so they could run away, got your blood pressure up, breathing faster. Parasympathetic is actually the opposite. So if we can get our parasympathetic nervous system going, it decreases our breathing, decreases our blood pressure, decreases our heart rate, and we feel more calm. So by showing gratitude, by thinking about the things we're grateful for and thankful for, we can have a physiological effect on our body and vice versa. If we get stressed out about all the little stuffs, all that sympathetic stuff goes up. So it can raise our blood pressure. So we can actually have an impact on our physical health just by being grateful. It also can affect our sleep. So a lot of us may have trouble getting to sleep, may have trouble falling back to sleep after you wake up in the middle of the night. And believe it or not, there's a lot of studies that show that gratitude journaling before bed can really help. So it gets your brain calmed down. You're focused more on those positive aspects of the day instead of lying in bed and ruminating all of the things that didn't go well during the day. You've shifted your focus to the positive things, and it can actually help improve sleep. It also can make us feel more motivated to exercise. So if we're thankful for things and we're a little more positive, we might be more likely to exercise. And then once we exercise, that makes us feel better. And again, we get ourselves into this habit of taking better care of our bodies and being thankful for that. Now, we mentioned a few things of how we can cultivate gratitude, but let's talk about some more practical ways that we can work on being more grateful in our lives. The first is writing a thank you note. Now, I don't care if it's a text thank you or an email thank you or the old-fashioned sit down and write a thank you note thank you, but I think we have lost a lot of the old-fashioned way of writing a thank you note. I know my mother's generation, when I was growing up as a kid, I had to write a thank you note for every single thing I got on my birthday or for Christmas or for something at graduation. We had to write those thank you notes, and it was work back then, but I still try to think of that because I think of how I feel when I have given someone a gift. I enjoy getting that thank you note back. So writing a thank you note to someone is a very practical way to cultivate gratitude. And a lot of researchers say try to send at least one thank you note each month. That's not hard to do. Even if it's just thank you for sending me a note, or thank you for that great email, or thank you for the picture you sent, or the phone call, whatever the case may be. But showing gratitude through a thank you note is one way we can cultivate that culture of gratitude within us. Now, maybe you're not able to do that, or maybe the person wouldn't want to receive it from you. But believe it or not, even if you can thank someone mentally in your head, that really picturing how you would tell them that you would say thank you, or picturing their face smiling when you say thank you, even that affects your brain. There's a lot of research on just the fact of looking at something or picturing something in your mind. I'll give you an example, and you can see it if you can feel this or not. Picture a lemon sitting on a cutting board in front of you. Think what it feels like, how bright the color is. Now I want you to picture cutting that lemon in half and picking up half of that lemon and putting it under your nose and smelling it and bringing it close to your mouth. And I want you to really visualize that lemon and imagine what that smell would be. Does anybody find that their mouth is watering a little bit? If so, you have just affected your brain to be processing that lemon as if there's a real lemon in front of you. So visually picturing things can actually make a physical difference on your brain and body. So even thanking somebody in your head can make a difference in how gratitude affects your body. I like this saying, there is always, always, always something to be thankful for. I understand some days we have to look a little harder to find those things, but they are always there. If we keep that gratitude journal, it's easier to see them. But I want you to try thinking about finding at least one thing every day that you're grateful for. Hopefully, you can find more than that. I'm one of those people that irritates a lot of other people because I can always find the silver lining to the most horrible thing that can happen. I can find something to latch onto of a positive. And I know that drives a lot of people around me insane, but it's just something I've always done. It's part of me. But I really try to encourage people around me to take that on because it really keeps you from getting drugged down into the mud about things. When you can try to find that silver lining or something to be thankful for out of that encounter or bad day or whatever the case may be. Another way to cultivate gratitude is through prayer. I don't care what your religion is. I don't even care if you're not religious and you're just spiritual. But whatever way, shape, or form that you pray has an effect on our brain. Praying, I know a lot of times we ask for things when we pray, but what I want you to start thinking about is to be thankful for things when we pray. So if we focus on our blessings, prayer can actually be a way to cultivate gratitude as well. Another way is through meditation. Jonathan and I were talking about this before we started the class too, that we both would like to be better at meditating because we know it's good for us, but it's sometimes hard work. But mindfulness meditation involves focusing on the present, the here and now, and blocking out everything around you. And you really focus on right now, right here. And a lot of guided meditations guide you through what you're grateful for. They can help you sometimes, or just you can do it. Maybe you write it down in your journal first, and then you sit and meditate and you think of all those things that you're grateful or thankful for. But meditation is a really good way to really take that gratitude and even impact your brain and body even more, because it really puts it together into kind of a practice, so to speak. So, if you get into that habit on a regular basis, it really can help with those positive emotions and those physical things that we talked about being better for you. So let's just do a little bit of a review. So what am I grateful for today? I think if we were all standing on that sunny beach and that warm sand, we would definitely be grateful for that. I know I would be. But the takeaway messages I want to have for you this evening is, don't forget to say thank you. Jonathan and I were also mentioning that we noticed with everybody wearing masks nowadays when you go out, I don't hear as many people saying thank you as I used to. And maybe it's just because I'm not going out as much. But don't let that mask over our face stop us from still being thankful and saying thankful, especially to those people that are out there working for us in this time of COVID-19. I encourage you to pay it forward. Think of a way that you can help somebody else out. And do something outside of yourself to increase this feeling of gratitude. Try to be the glass half full person. Try to stop yourself from being that glass half empty person. And count your blessings each and every day, whether it's through a journal, whether it's through your prayer, whether it's just through your thinking about it, or your meditative practice, whatever the case may be. Try from this point forward through Thanksgiving, and hopefully then you'll get in the habit and you'll go do it more. But try to take some time out every day to think about the things in your life that you're grateful for. Because we get so bogged down with all of the negative things, we really need to work harder now, especially in this pandemic, and especially through this holiday season, to find those things that we are grateful and that we are thankful for. And now I'll open it up to questions. If you can write them in that Q&A or chat, whatever it says at the bottom, Jonathan will read them, and then I will do my best to answer them for you.
Thank you, Leanne. That was very informative and inspirational.
I hope so. I need to work on it myself too, but.
Oh, I think we all do. Yeah. It's, just being more mindful of it will be helpful. Definitely.
And make it a habit.
Yeah, that's the thing. Doing these activities even when you're feeling good. So not just when you're upset or something happens.
Yep, exactly.
So you do get into the habit. A participant, thank you for the presentation.
Oh, you're very welcome. Any questions yet, Jonathan?
Yeah, I do have one here. So how do you deal with a family member or significant other who is a pessimist and not let them bring you down?
Yeah, like I said, my husband is the glass half empty person in our house. And that can be hard to deal with. What I try to do is just try to keep everything positive and point out those positive things that I can find. Even if it's not right in their face, maybe you let them rant and then you say, well, I've noticed this, and point out the positive things. Or bring it up in a time where maybe it's not so heated. You let them get that off their chest and calm down. And then maybe later you bring up one of the positives that you've seen. Or sometimes you could say somebody else pointed it out to you. Sometimes get it away from you when it's your significant other that you're dealing with. But I try to fit those positive things in wherever I can to try to defuse that situation and try to keep things positive. Like I said, I probably drive my significant others kind of crazy, but it's just what I do.
Somebody's asking if there has been any studies on the positive effects of gratitude.
Yes, there are a lot of scientific studies out there in person, like in psychology studies, in medical studies. So a lot of the things that I told you today are actually shown in studies to be proven. I didn't cite all of those studies because I didn't think you probably really wanted to go look all those up, but you can just Google research studies and gratitude, and you can probably come up with a whole list. But they're definitely out there, especially the physical ones, the effect on the physical body, and the personality ones and the self-esteem ones. Those are really well documented in the literature that you should be able to find without too much trouble if you're able to look them up on the internet.
Here's a question. I've noticed that working with male clients versus female clients, male clients tend to be more resistant to things like gratitude, journaling, writing. Is there any, or are there any suggestions you may have to try to get them to be more open to this?
Yeah, you know, I agree with you. I think that I have seen that in my personal experience as well. I think the whole idea of meditation is becoming a lot more accepted in the general public as something that's good for us. I mean, the fact that LeBron James does commercials for the app Calm, CALM, which is a meditation app. I think it has other things too, but it's basically a meditation app. And the fact that LeBron James does commercials for it, I think means that it's being targeted toward the male population. So a lot of professional athletes use meditation techniques, and almost every meditation has some form of gratitude in it. So using LeBron James and the Calm app as a motivation might be something that you might be able to do with male clients. To get them more to give it a try. And I think maybe they would be more likely to do a meditation, even if it's 5 minutes. You don't have to do a half an hour of meditation. 5 minutes of meditation is shown to have benefits on the brain and the body. But I would give that a try. I would try to find that commercial on TV or find something online that has LeBron doing it, and that might be something that would resonate with male clients or family members a little bit better. Just as a thought.
Yeah. Kind of normalize it for them.
Right.
Here's a question. I think it may be directed to you. How long have you been practicing gratitude, and when did you begin to notice the difference in your behavior per se?
Oh, I don't know that I can pinpoint exactly when I became this always seeing the bright side of life person. It just seems to have been kind of how I got through life. But I will tell you that earlier this year, my dad passed away, and he was very sick for about 6 weeks and on hospice here at home. And I don't think I would have gotten through that. And I'm not sure my family members that were helping me with that caregiving would have gotten through it as well if I hadn't been the persistent person that was bringing up the positives. And that may sound totally crazy, but my dad wanted to be on hospice. That was his choice. And reminding everybody that, you know, we were honoring his wishes and we were helping him to get through this in the way that he wanted to, even though it was terribly hard. So I can't pinpoint when I started doing it. I can just pinpoint all the times that it has really helped me get through a difficult time. And I think has helped those around me get through a difficult time that I see many other families get bogged down with. And I hope I'm helpful sometimes to those around me with it, but I can't actually pinpoint when I started it. And I'll be honest, I do not do a journal. That I have never been a write in a journal kind of person, but I will tell you at the end of every day, I am thankful for things during every day. At the end of the day, I mentally make sure that I remind myself of all the things I am thankful for at the end of the day. So that kind of answered the question, kind of didn't, but.
Yeah. No, that sounds like you're tying it in with your attitude also. So they go hand in hand. So do you have any suggestions on how to help someone learn to meditate? I know you talked about the app.
Yeah, there's YouTube videos that you can access for free on the computer that are different styles of meditation. There are different apps on your phone or on your tablet. Calm, C-A-L-M is one of them. Headspace is another one, all one word, Headspace. The one that I use on my phone, it's called Insight, I-N-S-I-G-H-T, Insight Timer. And I think they all work very similar. You can choose, do you want to meditate for gratitude, for sleep, for stress, you can pick your topic, you can pick how long you want to meditate, you can pick if you just want music or if you want it to be guided. I personally do much better with a guided meditation. So if someone's talking to me and reminding me about breathing and what I should be thinking about, I do better with that. But there are actual ones you can find that are specifically gratitude. Most meditations have some aspect of gratitude built into them, but you can have ones that solely make you mindful of all the things to be grateful for. So you may have to experiment because everybody is comfortable with a different style, and you can pick different people that maybe you want a man's voice, maybe you want a woman's voice, maybe you want music, maybe you don't. So most of those apps are free, and I know there's a lot out on the internet as well that you can find for free, and you can find out which things work best for you, which ones you like, which ones make you feel the best. I think that's the nice thing. There's so many different types of meditation. There's chanting meditation. There are drumming meditations where you actually beat on something. I've seen bowls that make sound as part of meditation. There are things that you do with your fingers and chants. There are a zillion different kinds of meditation. So you kind of need to experiment and see what feels comfortable for you, and start very short. Start for a minute, start for 2 minutes. Don't try to do half an hour. You won't survive. You have to build up. At least that's my experience. You need to start small and build it up. Kind of like exercise. You wouldn't just go run a marathon. You start small. So the same thing with meditation. Start in a very small 1 or 2 minutes and then build it up over time.
Sense. I have two questions here. They kind of tie in together. So for someone really depressed, how do you get them to lift the veil? And the other one is, have you seen gratitude make a difference with people who naturally have a more negative bent?
Yeah, I guess my response to the depression part is it a actually medically diagnosed depression? Because if it's something that should be treated with antidepressants, I'm not sure that all of these gratitude things we've talked about are going to make a difference. They could work with an antidepressant, but if there's actually a chemical problem with the brain that is making them depressed, they also might need medication along with it. If it's not a clinical depression and it's just more of a low mood, I have actually seen people who over time, with a lot of work, have been able to use these ideas of gratitude or meditation to help improve their negative outlook. Now, that is not going to turn them into me of find something positive in everything. But even if for parts of the day that veil can be lifted, that you see that person again, and not just that, that depression or that sadness. If just for parts of the day they can find a way, to lift that veil and find some of those positive things. Sometimes it's just getting started. And then once they realize that they have found a tool that will help them, and maybe it's not the journal, maybe it's nature. Maybe they have to go out and experience nature and the awe of nature and of creation. It may be something totally different. Maybe it's just music. Maybe it's music that touches them. There could be so many different things that could stimulate gratitude or a positive outlook that you may have to be real experimental with people to see what reaches them. And that, I know that's a lot of work. So I hope that kind of answered the question.
Do you have a favorite? Oh, another one just popped in. Okay. Do you have a favorite author that has written a good book about gratitude?
Oh, that's a good question. I do not have one off the top of my head. I will be really honest with you. I am more of a look up things on the internet rather than sit down and read a whole book about it. In my busy lifestyle, I find I want it condensed into an article. But I'll bet if you go on Amazon or call the research librarian at the library and ask them for a recommendation, either Google it or look on Amazon under gratitude or call the library, they may have some really good suggestions for popular books or ones that have been checked out really frequently. I know I just got a message today that the libraries are closing back down. You can still check stuff out, but it's pickup or curbside, but I know the reference librarians are still available. So don't hesitate to call your library that's close to you and ask the librarian for some suggestions, because I'm sure they will have some really good ones for you.
Yes, and also somebody posted in the chat that I believe went to all the panelists. There's the Down Dog Yoga app, and they're running a COVID special.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, a lot of yoga practices. That's a really good point. A lot of yoga practices also incorporate gratitude. So, and again, there's a lot of YouTube providers of yoga as well. But yeah, gratitude is definitely part of yoga practices as well. So thank you for bringing it up. That's another really good, a really good avenue to try.
Yeah, and another person mentioned about the Kaddish prayer, which we say with death is really a praise of God for having lent the person to us. The central part of prayer is thank yous to God. Also, saying a prayer at meals is another way of expressing gratitude. So it's
Yes,
another example.
yes, definitely, definitely. Totally agree.
If there's any other questions. Um,
Well, Jonathan, you want to move on to the ending slides, and if anything else comes in, we can come back to it at the end?
yeah, that sounds good. That's
Okay.
perfect. So thank you all for all of your questions. And yeah, like Leanne said, we will go ahead and get to those. If any come up later on, you can either email Hannah, you can email me, or Nicole, and her contact will be later on in this presentation. And as I mentioned earlier, with our dementia care navigation team, as you could see, that was my colleague Hannah, and these are also our geriatricians, Dr. Elizabeth O'Toole and Dr. Shemakian. They both have years of experience in working with clients for memory care, and they're a great addition to our team, and we work together in creating care plans for our clients, and it really helps making sure that we have a set track and we're able to easily check in with the doctors if something comes up. So it really opens up the communication to give better service in the long run. And also here's Nicole. She's also part of the Dementia Navigation Program. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to her. Her phone number is there, and you can also send her an email. And also here's some additional resources that I wanted just to bring up with you guys. We have the Savvy Caregiver Workshops program, which is the program that Leanne facilitates. It's a 6-week training program for family caregivers. It helps them understand the behaviors associated with dementia. They learn self-care techniques and ways of approaching the behaviors to understand and learn how to reevaluate situations. We also have our dementia support group. Leanne also runs that, and that is open to the public as well as the Savvy Caregiver program. The dementia support group, you can attend as much or as little as you would like. And
they're both virtual right now as well.
yes, they're both virtual, which is needed during this time. And of course, our Brain Health and Wellness Initiative series. With our dementia support group, you would have a care navigator, either being Hannah or myself, working with your person that has dementia or is at risk of developing dementia. And we have our supportive home care program also with respite. Right. And again, there's our email addresses. So if you want to go ahead and shoot Hannah or me an email, please feel free to do that or give us a call. And I want to let everyone know about our upcoming live webinar. It is going to be it's going to be Improve Your Memory by Using Color, which sounds absolutely amazing. And I just love how Leanne's presentations are really relevant and unique, and I think they're really awesome. So Thank you so much, Leanne. The next presentation will be on Thursday, December 17th between 6:30 and 7:30. And again, for more information, please contact Nicole.
And
Thank
no
you
other
so much.
questions came in, Jonathan?
We'll check. Nope, it looks like we took care of them all.
Okay.
I hope everyone has a nice evening, and thanks again for joining us tonight. All right.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Thanks, Leanne. Bye.